Hello everybody and welcome back to more Love Bakudan. Here we are. Just with one final tick of the small box next to the statement. The quiz was done. I went back and redid the quiz. It's actually kind of tricky to get the rep you want, so luckily there's a guide online which tells you exactly what you need to pick to get whoever you want. Whew. Looked up from the magazine before me and saw that the sky had gotten considerably darker the longer I sat here. Okay, we already know this. Funny enough, I did the quiz again, and there's actually like a bad ending you can get where she decides that, you know what, this whole relationship thing isn't for her. She's gonna live out her days to be a farmer, and that's exactly what she did. And you get a bad ending, and you just have to redo the quiz, which is kind of funny. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was even a thing. What kind of woman would we end up with? I mean, I like Say, but I don't really want to date her in the game. So. Shy and sexy. Yeah, that's what we want. Well, how about that? Two words that are rarely used to describe the same person. We're not talking about the and in the middle. The soulmate of yours is both those things. Adorably shy when it comes to talking to new people, but once you get under her skin, she's sexier than you can ever hope to imagine. We know, it's hard to picture a genuinely shy girl in that way, isn't it? But we promise it's true. You know what they say about the quiet ones, just how did you actually manage to charm someone like this anyway? Very impressive. So just what are they like in love? Let's find out. Sensual. Ooh, even just writing that kind of word makes us all tingly inside. This is the kind of soulmate where we're confident you'll learn new things about yourself that you never knew before, and she'll be more than happy to show a woman like you all the wonderful things the spicy side of life has to offer. With a penchant for all things erotic, you'll find no sexual shortages here once she comes out of her shell. So what are you waiting for? Honest, she's a keeper. This one, a big fan of keeping the truth on the table at all times. She's always an honest woman. Actually, being genuine is pretty scarce these days, especially when it comes to love, so make sure you cherish that she's always trying to be straightforward with you. Trustworthy and all the more charming for it, you know as well that any interest she talks to you about is a genuine one. How cute. Artistic. Now, we think this one is a particularly lovely one to get a treat. This girl is going to be talented to the max. All of her artwork will be nothing less than an amazing achievement, and every time you see it, she seems to get better. Maybe she should really think about becoming a mangaka or something. What kind of hobbies do they have? This kind of soulmate that has an entire abundance of hobbies to look at. As mentioned earlier, this is a girl who loves her manga, games, and collector's place pieces. She's not a social butterfly, but she sure is a hobbyist. If you're into action movies, being creative, and having an open mind, then this is the lady for you. Who knows? Maybe she'll be able to get you to like things you never thought you would. So how do I meet this cutie? The best advice we could give to go somewhere nerdy. Anything that has a big selection of content, erotic or otherwise, it's bound to pull this girl's attention in. Should you by any chance work someplace like this, then maybe you should make your move when she's just hanging out. We're confident in saying that she'll have had her eye on you for a long time, even if you don't know about it yet. Ooh. Somehow, it didn't feel real. Huh. That is our type, isn't it? It's my type, really. But could it be true? What kind of love life awaits me? Shy soulmate. Who could that apply to? It must be someone I don't know very well, which could be just about anyone I met for the first time today. But I already know the characters, so I know we got it. I followed the guide to a T. I don't know how forgiving it is. Like if you accidentally pick one wrong, is it just not going to do it at all? I don't know. But it's okay. Time will tell. Time will tell. Dawn's Primrose. Ooh. Alright, now we're on to the real game. As soon as I woke up next morning, the quiz I had taken before settling in for the night was immediately on my mind. What time am I at? 5 minutes already? Oh my god. Well, not quite, but to be honest, I was quite surprised by the answer I had received. Sorry, a shy soulmate? Me? Wow. Never thought I was the type to really even notice shy girls all that much, but even if I had to admit, there was definitely something nice about the idea. I wasn't particularly introverted myself, but I couldn't help feeling like we'd make a complementary match for that very reason. I love the idea of getting a girl to come out of her shell just for my benefit and helping her to be less shy around other people. We could definitely strike up quite the bond doing something like that. Thinking about it more and more, Might just be the kind of woman I needed in my life all along. Something to keep me grounded. Someone I could experience new things with, teaching each other our different approaches to life. And of course, being a little needy too. Damn. She's going to be the whole package, whoever she was. Maybe a girl who thought entirely too much about everything was exactly what I needed to get in touch with my softer side. Yeah, when I took the quiz, I didn't know that this person was like a fucking a sexual monster. I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, I didn't pick any of those. That's why I didn't get what I wanted. That's why I became a farmer. The true route of the game. The only thing I love is the land. Heaving myself up over the mattress and slogging my way sleepily to the bathroom, my mind was already going a million miles a minute. Even as I brushed my teeth and looked at myself groggily in the mirror, I kept on smiling myself as the love-struck feeling. Feeling excited for prospective romance was not something that had been my wheelhouse at any point in my life. But even the mere suggestion of whoever this girl was, it was like something that got my heart racing like never before. I tried to think about whether I already knew anybody who fit the bill, but I was drawing a blank. I mean, I guess I'd only been back in Akiyama for a few days. Would I really meet her in the situation I was still in? Only time will tell, I guess. But for now, it was time to make my way downstairs and set up for the day ahead. So, let's see here. With my new dreams and desires for a girl that I just wanted to unwrap having to be put on hold, I sighed and sat down on the stool behind the countertop as I pulled across a piece of paper. Alright, so opening at 11, closing at 8. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Thinking of my regulars, that was probably perfect for them. Yeah, but we don't want regulars, we want new people. We want to grow the business, right? I was surprised to think of the kinds of people that had been so regularly frequenting my store. Elderly women, a few cute girls, oh, and of course the occasional customer asking for recommendations. The erotica business had been surprisingly booming right off the bat. I couldn't help but commend Grandma for running the store so well before I'd gotten here. She'd really built up her own empire under the Mishima name, and thinking about all of her achievements, it reminded me of just what I wanted to do with my life outside of this too. That being writing. Been quite a long time since I thought about it, but damn, I loved writing. It gave me such a thrill, such a buzz like nothing else quite did, and yes, that includes cute girls. There was just something about being able to completely lose yourself to the words on a page that suckered me in like nothing else. I guess being around a bookstore all the time really made me read a lot growing up, but I was never a bookish type, so to speak. I love building up my own worlds, coming up with all my own characters, their traits, trials, tribulations, characteristics, and of course the relationships. That was always the juiciest part. I guess in that way, me and whoever this shy girl was would probably have that in common. I knew a lot about the stereotypes surrounding them, or do with reading and getting lost in fictional worlds. I wonder, just who was it that waits for me in the real world? After I'd put the chalkboard outside and waited around for a few minutes, the regulars began to show their faces like clockwork all over again. It was, as always, an interesting mixture of people. The old ladies that were huddled in the corner beside the tables yesterday were back with a vengeance. This time, with their own boxes of food placed firmly in the middle of the table, I watched with a greatly bemused expression. As rather passionately, they began discussing the intricacies of one of the books they all had bought yesterday. The thing sounded like they were getting pretty heated over there, too. You are both making me so intensely enraged. How dare you? Eiko-chan, don't you dare. No, just because we feel we've read more romantic novels than No Grander Love, there's no need to be upset. You're both fools, utter, complete, contemptuous fools. This is the most romantic novel ever created, ever conceived, ever thought of, ever. Maybe if you take a nap, you'll calm down. Come on, have some pie. Speaking of which, I read Oh My Bad last night. Yeah. Oh, you did? And just what did you think? The intricate ways that Alice and Nellie interact were inspired, the affectionate nickname Nellie Belly. Personally, I thought it was rather bland. I expected more from the infamous pie scene. I thought it was perfect. What? Why are you looking at me like that? As I chuckled along with their conversation, they offered me some candy, to which I politely declined, before allowing them to return back to the conversation that seemed the utmost importance. Oh, to be a grandma discussing erotica all day long without a care in the world. How I envied them. The mysterious masked stranger made herself known again. She gave me a cursory glance as she came in and hurriedly rushed over to the shelf that housed her idol-related stories. As I flicked idly through the newspaper that had been doing the rounds here in Akiyama, I found my head snapping upwards as the bell rang off of the hinges and somebody in particular entered. Ah. It was like the bell itself was a sign. Oh, there she is, Himiko. That girl. I didn't remember her name, so I had to look up the character, because I'm like, I don't remember who these people are. The shy girl had only stuck to the manga corner. Wait, the shy girl. Suddenly a bolt of lightning struck me and I began to realize something very important. There had been someone new that had met recently who fit the bill of my quiz's answer. The private-looking, meek, beautiful brunette girl with glasses. I had to admit, even on the first day I met her, I thought she was a perfect 10. She had a cute face and a body that was just my type, thick thighs and a great chest. Though honestly, I felt a little sleazy thinking that. She was a customer after all. Couldn't help but smirkle at my own private thoughts as she scurried by my gaze and rushed over to the manga section. I'm only human after all. She obviously had a very established taste. I thought back to the book she'd requested for me to get down off the top shelf for her, Devil Lair. I didn't really know all that much about manga other than the really popular ones. You know, the series everyone knows, like Bolt's Dad and Two Piece. I don't know what Bolt's Dad is referencing, but Two Piece is obviously a One Piece reference. I thought I heard and seen one of those a lot, but I had not thought about actually giving them a go myself. I knew that anime and manga were pretty popular overseas nowadays too. Despite the famously harrowing work hours, it was probably a pretty good business to get into these days. If you could break through with a popular series, that is. But this girl seemed like she had such a vested interest in manga. I liked manga, like when I went to like Barnes & Nobles, but it's so expensive to buy. I don't even bother with it. It's a shame. There's some good ones out there. But you know, when it's like $10 a volume, it adds up really fast because you can usually read those pretty quickly. I could perfectly see her working behind the scenes on something a bit juicier like Devil Lair. She'd love to draw up her own characters and get lost in the same kinds of worlds I did, thinking about her own creations and so on. I felt a little dumb standing here watching her and thinking about all the things she might do when I could just, go up and, ask her. Though if our last conversation was anything to go by, she's really not that fond of talking to people in general. Not that I really blamed her. Social interaction could be overwhelming even for someone like me. Turning my attention momentarily back to whatever was on the counter, I rested my head in my hands as I idly flicked through the newspaper, but I found that my gaze was entirely lacking in concentration on it now. My eyes glazed over into the headlines, something about a bar being broken into, something about some other nonsense that was going on in town. Something about how some local lady had grown the third largest melons in human history, uninteresting small town talk. But no matter how uninteresting the news of the day was, my thoughts and my eyes continued to linger on this girl before me. Aww, I spent some time watching her eyes light up as she continued to leaf through the manga in her hands. Okay, I accidentally paused the recording and I forgot to unpause the recording, so we missed some things, but that's okay. Couldn't entirely attribute to that either. She's talking about how she was kind of sour before even we did the quiz. So we didn't miss much. We're going to go talk to her. So I dusted myself off of it, stood up slightly from the counter, and resolved myself to go talk to her. Right before somebody came up to the counter to talk to me instead. Excuse me, may I inquire about some recommendations, my good woman? Oh, of course. Shy brunette girl turned away from my gaze, and knowingly my eyes lingered on the back of her raven-colored hair. And I sighed quietly as I turned toward the cherry face of the customer, asking for some help with their erotic perusing. So I already did this part accidentally. Then I looked over at my recording at OBS and I'm like, oh, I still paused the recording. Oh, that sucks. Good thing I didn't record the entire video. Whew, the line does look pretty long. Better get started. Hello, ma'am. Can I help you with something today? Hi, great to see this place is open again. I'd really like to read a book about a city girl moving to the country. I can relate, I guess. So I already know what they are. So Love of the Stables. Makes pretty sense. She's about a girl who moves from the city and goes to her aunt in the farm and lives a farm life. Like we did, almost. Book about a city girl abandoning it all for a cute girl and some horses. This is definitely what she's after. Here, you'll definitely love this. I've heard this series is super popular. Oh, it's everything I've always wanted. Thank you. It's great. She loved it. Ah, here comes another customer. This next one's a little tricky. I'd like to read a dirty book about a girl with psychic powers. The girl I liked in high school was an Esper, you see. Sure, yeah, whatever floats your boat. So, okay, so this one has psychic powers, but the girl does not have psychic powers. She meets a psychic, so that's not really the same thing. This one actually has psychic powers. This one, doesn't really do anything with psychic powers at all. So I did this one, and it seemed to work okay. This is a crazy book about a psychic piano student, and if this doesn't get a Juice's phone, I don't know what will. Here you go, enjoy. Maybe that girl knows you're here buying this right now. Ah, perfect. I love it. Thank you. Wait, what? Awesome, she loved it. Oh, Yuki, good to see you. Hello, Haruka. Hope you're well. Don't tell me you've actually come to buy something. I thought I'd support my friend. Is that so wrong? Yuki likes erotica, huh? Color me surprised. Anyway, I was wondering if you could recommend me a good one. I can certainly try. What are you in the mood for? Vampires. I like stories about them, so... they all suck, though. So we got a couple here. These aren't really vampire-y, so it's this one, A Human Need, is about a world. I've been born a pure-blooded vampire. She's one of the few ones. But the cool thing is that when you do this one, you actually unlock the book, and you can actually read it in the menu, which is cool. I don't know how long it is, but that's pretty neat that they actually added actual stories. I don't know if they're real stories or not, probably not. But there you go. This one's about vampires. Perfect. Let's see here. Well, it's quite the blurb. Damn, maybe I'll take this one home to read it too. What about A Human Need? It seems like quite the gripping story. This is perfect. All about unrequited love too. Yeah, sounds great. Tell me what you think of it when you can, okay? Oh, Haruka. She loved it. Okay, this is where I ended up at. Ah, the crowd's died down a bit now. Let's see how I did. Yay! Everyone walked away with something. That's pretty good. Ooh, it took way longer than I expected. I felt a little exhausted from all the talking, and as soon as I was done with the customers, I found my gaze immediately drawn back to the shy girl in the corner beside the erotic manga. She was still here. I felt relieved. Ooh, she didn't leave. Maybe now is the right time to try and talk to her. Here goes nothing. Took a deep breath. Began to walk out from behind the counter. It was time to find out a little more about her, if she'd let me. I took a few steps across the floorboards of Bakudan Books and peered over at the manga she was reading. She hadn't noticed me at all. As I looked over, I noticed that there was a slight blush and a goofy smile written all over her expression, and I couldn't help but smile myself. Whatever she was reading, she was clearly having a good time with it, and that honestly made me feel a little bad about interrupting. But I just had to know her, you know? Had to get to know her. Even if it was just once. I wanted to find out more about what this girl had about her that was pulling me over. She still didn't notice me, even remotely, as I walked up behind her. I took a look up at the manga shelves beside her, and I found myself suddenly greeted with a million different front covers. Double A or B trans, something called Tamers, that was marked with a particularly large 18+ rating on the spine. I wonder just what the hell that one had inside of it that made it have such a large warning, even in a place like mine. Something I noticed when I was standing beside the shy girl, though, was that I was considerably taller than her. She was shy, cute, and small. The girl was going to be fun to tease if I managed to get that far. Took in a deep breath and walked a little closer behind her, peering over her shoulder at the dirty pages of manga she held in her hands. So, what's she reading? Ah! Oh, it's so cute. Oh my god, that's so cute. Oh, how do I get the image? Hang on. No? Now I'll figure it out. Couldn't help but laugh a little at her alarmed reaction as she whipped around to look at me, scaring her pretty face with the book in her hands. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you again. That's okay. Having fun? I rubbed the back of my neck as she bit her lip, and I looked down at the pages in her hands. Looked like something very colorful was happening on the spread before her, consisting of a demon woman, what looked like some kind of knight in her arms, and a bed. Wow. It's like a great read. Is this Devil Layer again? Whoever she was, she appeared to loosen up a little, hearing me saying I recognized the pages, and nodded quickly. Yes, this is my favorite series. I love the erotic scenes in it. Slightly blushing expression on her face accompanied an almost dirty smile, which surprised me. Couldn't help but laugh as her expression faded. Oh, really? Good taste. It looks great. Have you read it? I've not personally read it, but I think I might just have to try it out after seeing what's gotten you so immersed in it. The shy girl before me surprised us both with a shy, quiet chuckle and shuffled around a little before me as she continued to look down fiercely at the pages. It's the best one I've read. So much drama and other things in one manga. Oh, really? Yes, it's all about how the demon queen of the next realm wants to sleep with the knight here, and I could tell she was dying to talk about it. I smiled warmly as she began to trail off with her words. Obviously feeling awkward about spilling her guts to a stranger, she nodded as I looked over her shoulder. Don't want to spoil it for me? That's kind of you. Ah. Goodness. She was definitely loosening up a little. I was actually getting somewhere. For a girl this shy, I wondered just what she was like under the surface if she loved erotica this much. A wise person once said, watch out for the quiet ones. I wonder if there'll end up being anything to that. I've read a few manga in my lifetime. Not too many, though. I'm more of a writing kind of girl myself. Much to my surprise, that was actually what piqued her interest, even more than my reading habits. She raised her eyebrows in amazement and looked at me with great curiosity. Oh, really? Yeah, there's just something so cool about being able to make up your own characters, isn't there? Do you write your own stuff? I do, yes. Well, I don't think I'm that good at writing, but I like to draw things a lot. Oh, that's awesome. What kind of things do you draw? I like to draw action scenes. I always tend to enjoy drawing explosions for how much goes on in them. I raised my eyebrow this time. Damn, I guess there was a whole lot more to this girl than I was anticipating. Explosions? Wow, that's interesting. I've never heard anyone saying something like that before. Sorry, I know it's kind of weird. Oh, no, not at all. I think it's charming. Doesn't it make a person more interesting when they're unique, huh? The girl before me, who was already blushing, blushed even more. She closed the book before her, placing it back on the shelf quickly and filled it with the hem of her sweater as she looked down. But even with that, she shuffled around to face me, which I took as a good sign. I was getting somewhere. You think so? Of course. There's nothing better than an interesting lady. Say, may I ask your name? Oh yeah, we actually don't know her name yet, do we? Well, I mean, we do, but we don't. I've gotten in the habit of doing this with pretty much all my regulars now, so... You remember me? Well, of course, you're my favorite manga-loving customer. Ah. I chuckled as she blinked at me, surprised, and looked up right in my eyes. I think that was the point I knew I had a big, fat crush on whoever this was. I really was attracted to everything about her already, but... honestly, her eyes were the most beautiful feature of her face. At least that's what I thought. So dark and expressive. Felt like they were looking right into my soul. I could tell just from one look at her that this was the kind of woman that really did think entirely too much about everything. The way she looked at me was so piercing, and yet in such a gentle way that it felt like she wanted to unwrap me too. My name is Himiko. Himiko, that's a lovely name. Thank you. What's yours? Me? I'm Haruka Mishima. I'm the granddaughter of the woman who used to run this place before. Did you ever come here before I reopened the place? Oh, that's you. Don't tell me Grandma used to talk about me. Your grandma used to tease me sometimes. What? About me? Son, I was very, very afraid. Grandma always had a penchant for saying the most embarrassing things about me without meaning it to come off as embarrassing, which is probably not an uncommon phenomenon when it comes to grandmas the world over. She'd brag to her elderly friends about how I used to cry and cry when I lost my favorite stuffed toy when I was little, or how about I stayed near the ocean every day for 2 months, waiting for the rainbow shark to jump out as a kid. Things the person in question, me, didn't want other people knowing. Especially when the person in question, still me, was well into her teens at the time those stories were being told. Was Grandma about to wind me up from the beyond the grave? I awaited Himiko's answer with a sense of worry hanging over me. She said she had a handsome granddaughter that I should meet sometime. Aww. As though she just realized what she said, she slapped her hands over her mouth and closed her eyes in deep embarrassment. I began blushing profusely over her fingertips. I grinned. Oh my, thank you, Grandma. No, seriously, thank you, Grandma. It's not, I didn't say that. Don't worry, I know it was my grandma being scamp. So you did come here before then. Recomposing herself, Himiko quickly shuffled in her place and nodded. Yes, I always came here for manga. The store always had the best one stocked, so... There's not many other places in Akiyama that will do direct orders of volumes that aren't in it either. That's true. I mean, anything you want, I'll get it in for you. Oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm still waking up. I like a lot of obscure things, so... No problem. Anything for a valued customer who happens to also be as cute as you. Damn, that was bold of me, Himiko. Blushed red. Hey, don't you start teasing me too. I'm sorry, occupational hazard. Himiko pouted, and I felt my heart melt. How is one girl this cute? Well, if you need anything, just let me know, okay? I'm sorry to have interrupted you. Oh, don't apologize. It was nice. It was nice to talk to someone about the same things I like. You don't do it often? Not as often as I'd like. Himiko looked a little downtrodden when she said that. I felt bad for her, poor thing. Well, hey, I'm always here whenever you want to talk manga or about anything else, too. Thanks, Do you have this, the 7th volume of Devil Air? 7th? Oh, it's not up there? No, I tried to look, but I haven't seen it. Okay, I'll go check the stock out back for you, but like I said, I can just order it in otherwise. Himiko's dark eyes lit up with delight, and I felt like smitten butterflies in my stomach rush around like crazy. Really? Thank you. No problem. Let me just go check for you. As I turned to walk away from the shy girl before me, the doorbell rang as another person entered, and I found myself surprised by just who stood before me. Oh. Oh, hey, it's Akane. Hey, Haruka, long time no see. Hey, Akane, yeah, it's been a real long time. What's up? Himiko's eyes looked at Akane with a certain glint that I couldn't place. It wasn't quite attraction. I mean, maybe I was just kidding myself because I wanted her, but I thought it was something else. She looked at her with an awestruck gaze, as though she thought Akane could easily be the protagonist of some story she was cooking up inside of her mind. I had to admit, Akane was a damn cool customer, literally and figuratively. With all the striking scars that decorated her body, her topaz eyes, and her bright jacket hanging over her muscles, she could easily take the role of an action protagonist. I laughed to myself as Himiko stared, and Akane walked over to one of the many shelves that housed erotica stories. So, are you looking for something particular today? Nah, I just thought I'd stop in and look for something to read after work. I've got a date tonight with a cute girl. Oh, really? Who's the lucky lady? Don't know, it's like a blind date thing, but she sounded pretty cute when I got to speak to her over the phone. Oh, she sounded like she could have been an idol or something with how sweet her voice is. Well, good luck to you. Himiko raised her eyebrows too, making a mental note of whatever story she was thinking up in her brain. I couldn't help but laugh as I watched her pull out a small notepad from her skirt pocket and scribble something down. She must take her creative pursuits pretty seriously to carry something like that around. Well, I'm gonna get browsing. Okay, just bring it all up when you're ready to pay. Will do. Akane beamed at me, nodding cheerfully as she began to pick up a random book from the shelf. And I turned to walk into the storeroom out in the back. We'll be back in a second. If a singer and a staff member... Oh, no, too cliche. Maybe. Yes, that's it. Dragons? I smiled as I saw how absorbed she was in writing something down beside the manga shelf, and turned towards the storeroom without trying to bug her again. Walking across the floorboards towards the room ahead of me, stacked with the brim with boxes and old merchandise. Felt the butterflies in my stomach triple in size. Himiko was so cute, even from the brief moments I'd gotten to talk with her. She seemed like she had so much going on inside her mind that I just wanted to pick it apart and listen to everything she had to say. I mean, if she wanted to do that as pillow talk after something else, then that was more than welcome by me. I chuckled to myself as I opened one of the cardboard boxes marked as manga and began to siphon through the stock before me. Wow, Grandma must have really seen the writing was on the wall for that other manga place. She's got quite the haul here. I had to say, I found myself perpetually impressed by just how prepared Grandma was. She left me wanting for nothing and had me set up in such a way before I passed that I'd have nothing left to worry about, really. All these books, all this backlog stock, a small black book of her contacts that rests underneath the cash register out front. She'd give me the best opportunity possible. I wish I could thank her. It's such a wealth of opportunity. I wasn't naive to the idea that this was a lot of people's dream job. My fingertips picked up each copy of manga delicately, and I even stopped to flick through the pages on occasion. Even I admit the attention to details in these things was absolutely amazing. Detail in each scene, the differentiation in art style, each series stood out in its own unique way, and every artist behind them clearly had a vision of what story they wanted to tell. It was impressive that they worked under such strenuous conditions of hard deadlines and fan demand too. I didn't know that much about the manga industry, but what little I did know of it served to only further my impression of it. I had to give them credit where credit was due. These were some damn impressive feats. The work ethic was nothing short of remarkable. Devil Ale Volume 7, come on, where are you? Seems like I had it all the way up to Volume 6, of course, but because why would we have the next volume when it so badly needed it? I shook my head in disbelief of the irony and closed up the first box I checked. There was 2 other boxes marked as manga, so That meant my fingertips were going to be stroking a lot of laminated front covers a little more for the time being. Sadly, that was all for naught. But I immediately shifted my gear into thinking into a more positive one, because if we didn't have it now, that's just another excuse to talk to her. I smiled to myself. I knew I was jumping the gun, and I felt so stupid for allowing myself to get all into dither over a girl I'd only just met, but there was something about her that was so attractive I just couldn't shake it from my mind. Re-emerging from the storeroom, Himiko was still scribbling something down in her notepad. A small, cute book with a teal front cover. She made tons of notes in by the time I'm gone. Akane was lost in a book at the side of the room too, with her jaw slightly agape as she flicked through the pages. And the other women were all still impassioned, chatting intensely amongst themselves in the corner too. Himiko? Okay, guns, yes. Explosion here. Hey, Himiko. I placed a hand on her shoulder and Himiko shivered as I let out another shriek. Ah, you scared me again. Sorry, I did try to call out to you. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. I got a little absorbed in some, planning for a new story, are you? Yes, I just had a burst of inspiration. She trailed off again, aware that she was about to spill her guts to a total stranger, and shook her head quickly. I smiled at her. Sorry, but we don't have double layer in stock at the time being. Want me to order it for you like I mentioned? Oh yes, please. It just came out last week, so I'm really not surprised you weren't able to get it in just yet. Oh really? I'll have to start keeping up with the manga releases more diligently, I think. Himiko looked at me with great surprise and happiness in my vested interest and nodded. Thanks for your help, Mishima-san. Oh, just call me Haruka. It's fine. Okay, Haruka. I smiled at the polite, shy girl before me who bit her lip as she looked down away from me. Okay, well, if you need anything else, just let me know. Alright, actually, I think I'm going to go for now. I had a lot of things I wrote down pretty quickly. Hey, Haruka, can you ring this up for me? Oh, sure, give me a sec. You seem pretty busy in here, too. I'll stop wasting your time. Wasting my time? You aren't doing that at all. I was just thinking while I looked for your manga what a lot of fun I was having, actually. Ah, it was? Sure, I mean, I knew we didn't have that much. We didn't talk that much, but somehow I feel like I found out a lot more about you. Well, I'll let you sort yourself out. Guess I better go ring up Akane's purchase. Okay, see you soon then. See you, Himiko. Be safe getting home. Himiko nodded bashfully before she slipped her notebook back into her pocket. I smirked as she scurried out on the store as though she couldn't bear the embarrassment any longer. Akane watched as the store bell rang out to signal Himiko's leaving, and turned back to me with a raised eyebrow over her shimmering eyes and a bright grin. Your girlfriend, is she? Nice try, but I won't fall for obvious attempts to tease me. Ha! You're not a woman to get rattled easily, are you? Hey, I run an erotic bookstore for a living. I don't think I could survive if my demeanor was anything less than ironclad in the lack of shame. I hear you on that. Akane chuckled as she handed me a couple of books she wanted and I rang them through for her. Thanks, I'll see you soon. Take care. Oh, and good luck on your date. Here's hoping she's as cute as she sounds. See you, Haruka. With a bright smile and a wave, Akane turned to saunter out of the store with her purchases, then closed the door behind her with the tinkle of the bell. Thinking on Himiko, she really was cute. I had really enjoyed talking to her. I wonder just what it was that was always going on underneath the surface of her mind. I was excited to get to know her more. Well, I think that's going to be it for this part. I'll see you all on Wednesday. We all have a good day, and as always, take care.